What's up guys, my name is Coach Jason. Today I'm going to talk all about long runs. So I've seen a lot of new runners ask, well, what exactly is a long run, or how long should my long runs be? Those are great questions, and today I'm going to answer them for you. And hang around to the end for 4 tips that you always need to remember when planning a long run. So before we talk about how far you should run, let's talk about what exactly is a long run. So a long run by definition is your longest run of the week. Now, I know you may be thinking,
Well, duh, obviously that's what the long run is. That's the definition of a long run.
but really think about it. So a long run is subjective, meaning it is up to you. So whether you are training for a 5K or a marathon, your long run is dependent on you. So what may be a long run to someone else may be completely different to you. So here's a couple examples. If you're running 2 to 3 miles a day, your long run may be 5 to 6 miles. Or if you're training for a marathon, your long run may be up to 20 miles or more. It's all dependent on what you're training for. The most important thing to remember is be consistent. If you miss a long run one week, don't try and make up the miles the next week. It's important to be consistent with your long run because your long run is your bread and butter. No matter what distance you're training for, your long run is arguably the most important run of the week. Maybe more important than speed work, because your long run helps build that aerobic base, and that base is what will allow you to improve later on. And by definition, your long run should be between 20 to 30% of your weekly mileage. So when you're planning your long runs over the course of several weeks, be sure to increase your long run by 1 to 2 miles, give or take, week by week. It's important to remember, though, to give yourself an occasional drop down week, just so you can give yourself a chance to recover. Now let me tell you a story about one of the first long runs that I could ever remember. So I've been running for 19 years, and in high school I played soccer, and soccer was kind of my first love. I'd played it my whole life. And in Florida, where I live, soccer is a winter sport, meaning it's between cross country in the fall and track in the spring. So my freshman and sophomore years, I'd always been scared to run longer than like 6 or 7 miles. I don't know why. I just told myself, well, I'm only training for a 5K. I don't need to run any further than that. So one day before soccer practice, my best friend and running buddy decided that we should go on a long run to his house. Now, I'd never been to his house. I didn't know how far it was. And this was before the age of GPS watches and running with phones. In fact, smartphones didn't even exist when I was in high school. And so we decided we were going to run to his house. So as we kept running, I kind of got this weird feeling of, this seems to be going a lot further than what he's telling me. He kept saying, oh, it's just a little bit further. It's just a little bit further. Oh, it's just another mile. And by the time we got to his house, I quickly realized that, you know what? I don't think that was just 3 miles like he said it was. In fact, by the time we got to his house, it was over 5 miles. Well, we had to get back to the school, so we had to turn around and run all the way back. Now, that story may seem a little silly. Maybe it's just my ignorance, or maybe just my stupidity for not looking at my watch and realizing, oh yeah, we're going further than 3 miles. But that day has changed my running career. Up until that point, I never run more than 6 or 7 miles in my life. But that day, I ran 10 and a half. That day was me punching fear in the face and realizing that I could go further than what I wanted to, and I could go further than what I thought I can do. So sometimes the long runs may seem daunting, but be confident, be brave, punch fear in the face, and know that you can do anything you set your mind to. So, before I talk about the 4 most important things to remember when planning your long run, if this video has been any help to you in any way, be sure to hit the subscribe button, help me out, hit the thumbs up button, let me know in the comments if this has helped you, so I can plan more videos to help you guys. So here are my 4 most important things to remember when planning a long run. So tip number 1, keep it conversation paced, meaning if you can't sing happy birthday as you're running, you're going too fast. Tip number 2, if the weather is not favorable, plan accordingly. If it's going to be super hot, bring water. If it's going to be really cold, bundle up. If it's going to be rainy, make sure you have a plan and make sure you're ready to handle the elements. Tip number 3 and number 4 are kind of related. So tip number 3 is have a general idea of where you're going, and tip number 4 is let someone know where you're going. Now, I'm all for being spontaneous and adventurous, but be safe. If you're going to an area where you haven't run before, be smart about it. Either run with someone or let someone significant like a spouse or family member know exactly where you are and how long you plan on going. In fact, in today's day and age, some apps such as Strava, and I believe Garmin does it now too, allows a beacon feature, meaning when you're running, you can send a beacon to someone and they can know exactly where you are at all times.